If you've been to my live before, you know that it's kind of rough when I begin to speak in the beginning. I have to break the ice, and it's very awkward. Going from selectively mute to verbal. So, hello, the two people I have not greeted in text yet, Shadow, lol, and Igor. So Shadow says, in your opinion, in as few words as possible, what is the problem with sexes? The problem with sexes, like, can you elaborate that? Do you mean like the gender war? Do you mean like why people are bad in bed? Like, what does this mean, Shadow? Igor says, greetings and good part of day that is over there at the moment. I'm from Serbia and a bit sleepy. Oh, okay. So it's maybe like the middle of the night for you or something, Igor. Um, hello, Skinner Farms. Wide awake says his day was all right. I'm glad to hear yours was good. Gabby N64, he says his was all right. Um, Matt says ask specific questions. Everyone, please do. If you got any questions, I'll try to answer them. Hello, Russell, Cameron, Thomas. Hello, Remo. How are you guys doing? Feeling a little under the weather, to be honest. So, yeah, so that's what I'm gonna be drinking this water and whatnot. So, email asks, where is your video with Sterling Cooper on sexual dominance escalation? I took it down. Email. I unlisted it because a couple reasons. One, I saw some clips on TikTok with Sterling Cooper, which really disturbed me. And I was like, oh, hell no. Basically, I'm like, oh, God. This is what he's up to? I'm scared. Two, having put out a lot of videos on dominance and having got data in the form of like hundreds of thousands of comments, at least tens of thousands, that's for sure. I mean, last I checked, I was almost at like 100,000. So, and it's been quite a while since. So, let's just say thousands of comments. Many people don't understand dominance. They don't get it. It's too vague. It's too ambiguous of a word. It means different things to different people. It means different things in different situations. There's like the kink way of doing dominance, and there's just being like a high value man. And there's the way you could be dominant, sorry, on a date. There's a way you could be dominant in a relationship once you know somebody's kinks. So basically, people get very confused when they hear the word dominance and they jump to a lot of insanely dangerous conclusions about it. So I know it's not my fault, but I just felt like I'm spreading misinformation. It's not misinformation really, but I was just spreading something that a lot of idiots are gonna take the wrong way, okay, to put it simply. And then 3rd, there was one part I mean, that was the first interview I ever did, right? And so, I was kinda like sink or swim, like, in the moment with that, interview. And there was one part of the interview where he kinda started saying something kinda sexist about women, and in the effort to just be agreeable and kind of like a good host, I kinda just used almost like the disarming technique and kinda just, I guess, saw the truth in what he was saying, but when I was watching it back, like, when I was editing it, I was just cringing at that part. I'm like, "Why did I agree with him? I should have pushed back." So that kinda bothered me, and it kinda made me feel like I'm throwing women under the bus in a way that I don't even believe. So, that part just always bothered me, and I didn't like it. So I decided, "You know what? I'm just gonna take this down." And, wasn't he, like, best buddies with Andrew Tate and everything? Like, I don't even really keep up with him, but what's he doing lately? Is he, like, best friends with Andrew Tate? Like, explain this to me. Israel says, "Hello." Hello, Israel. Do those reasons make sense to you guys? Let me know. Avanish Shirsta says, "Hello. I am 20 years old and I need your advice on socializing and being good with women and having a good time and making friends. Please guide me on this. I'd be more than grateful." Okay, Avanish. So it sounds like you have kind of some social anxiety problems and you also have some dating problems. Because the social anxiety problems are kind of like the socializing, having a good time, and making friends. And then, like, the being good with women problems, a dating coach could help you with that. And some dating coaches do both because, like, a lot of guys who have social anxiety are bad with women, you know what I'm saying? But, I mean, you could go about it one of 2 ways. You could read books about social anxiety, you could get therapy for social anxiety, you could hire a coach for social anxiety, or you could just cut straight to the source and try to get coaching from somebody who specializes in being a dating coach. I do it. Other people do it. The best would be to find someone who can actually watch you in person. That's kind of the best, in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, it's a journey. Okay, there's many pieces to it. There's the looks maxing piece. There's the understanding women piece. There's the getting feedback on what you're doing and seeing if you're making mistakes piece. And there's the exposure piece when it comes to social anxiety. You kinda can't get around that. So, yeah, you got a long journey ahead of you, Avanish, but many people have done it before you. Many people will continue to do it, so there's definitely hope. It's not necessarily gonna be easy, though, but you can do it, Avanish, 100%. Um, what do you think? Wide Awake Wolves says, "Have you ever considered going on the Whatever podcast? I feel like you have a lot of things that could be insightful to the participants and the viewers." So I've only seen clips from the Whatever podcast on what the hell is happening with my hair? What is this? Okay. Oh, dear Lord. Okay. Yeah, so I've only seen clips from that Whatever podcast. The guy is insane to me. The people on that are insane to me. I should watch like a full episode, but I've absolutely hated it. Everything I've seen, I'm like hating every second. What do you like the podcast and what's it all about? Because I've just seen different clips. It's horrible, in my opinion. Email says, "Did you check out his course, Sexual Dominance Escalation? If so, what did you think of it?" Yes, I watched it. I bought it, I watched it, and that's why I recommended it at the time. What did I think of it? Um, it doesn't go into much psychology, but what it does show you is kind of like the physical aspects of dominant moves in the bedroom. If you've never seen that, I think it could really expand your mind. Okay. So I think it's good in that respect. And I think it's probably worthwhile for a lot of guys who probably like have never even like considered the possibilities. Um, yeah, but I mean, it's pretty expensive. I bought it at like a very steep discount before he had actually released it. So is it worth it now at the current price? I don't know. It's up to you. But I mean, he definitely teaches some solid moves. So angry CS2 player says, this girl who claims we were close befriended a guy who she knows I dislike. Wait, this girl who claims we're close befriended a guy who she knows I dislike. I feel like she knows it makes me upset, but continues to do it. I feel disrespected. Should I move on? Well, it seems like you guys are just friends, right? So you're close friends, and she made friends with someone you dislike. I'd say that's fine. You can't really control your friends like that. Um, if I was you, I would kind of be like, why did you become friends with him? You know, I hate the guy, and I've told you that before. You know that I've told you this, this, and this that he did, and I'd see what she says. I mean, it sounds a little controlling, angry CS2 player, because it's like, she's not your girlfriend. She's just a friend of yours. You can't control your friends. I mean, if you're really super, super close, it is a bit weird that she wouldn't take your feelings about this guy seriously. Like, if you have good reasons for not liking this person, you'd think that she'd kind of like hear you out and be like, yeah, he sounds like a total asshole or something. Like I don't like him either. But so like I guess I understand why it makes you feel disrespected, but at the same time, just because she says you're close doesn't mean you actually are like best friends or anything. And if you're just kind of like friends, you can't control people like that. However, if you feel disrespected, you could just kind of like distance yourself. And if she asks why, you could just tell her, well, I'm just kind of feeling disrespected because like I've told you I hate this guy and it seems like you don't even care. I don't know. Should you move on? Honestly, you can do whatever you want. I don't know. What do you think? What do you guys think? Angry, and what else do you guys in the chat think about that? Um so Terrero 32. Can I ask, what is the center of a relationship for you and what you think it's for women in general? I would appreciate it. So what do you mean by that, Terrero? What is the center of a relationship? Does that mean like what is the heart and soul of the relationship? What is the most important thing in a relationship? Like, I don't know what you mean. What is the center of a relationship? Can you please be a little more specific? Ilol says, I need to find another job. Are you hiring? I wish, Ilol. I'm not. Zoesia says, hi, hello. Russell Cameron Thomas says, good call, Vic. Yes, many people misconstrue dominance in various contexts, e.g., importance of mutual respect, boundaries, empathy. 100%, Russell. You know it. I know it. I can't tell you how many people have made. I could like break it down, like all the different comments I've got about. One is, oh, so you're saying I should just walk up to people and like punch them in the head? That's what they think dominance is. Other people think dominance is being kind of like the loudest, most obnoxious person in the room. Other people think dominance is kind of like women are in their rightful place as kind of in like the traditional gender role sense. Like women are like subordinate to men and like women like thank you Victoria for understanding that a woman's natural place is like submissive to men. I'm like the fuck? I fucking hate you. I get that so much, okay? They don't understand that it's like a consensual thing that women consent to because it's like a fun, thrilling, entertaining sexual activity. So many more stuff, things like that, Russell. Um, it's disturbing. It's very, very disturbing. People use it as an excuse for assault. It's really bad. Email says, yes, he is friends with Andrew Tate. I'm guessing you don't like Andrew Tate. Well, email, I'm not like some kind of expert on Andrew Tate, but every video I've seen of Andrew Tate, every newsletter I've read of Andrew Tate's, every Twitter post or X whatever I've read of Andrew Tate's, I've just been like stunned by the stupidity. So no, I'm not a fan of Andrew Tate. The dude is what's the word for him? Just truly a clown. Um Encon says, I'm curious how you make your money and how does doing this benefit you? I find it enjoyable, Encon, and YouTube gives me money for my videos. Gabby N64 says, what if you went on one of them incel podcasts like Fresh and Fit? Oh god, I hate Fresh and Fit so much. It's terrible. It is terrible. I was entertained when I watched Andrew Tate on Fresh and Fit, but that was very much a hate watch. Zoesia says, in your video, the raw attractive power, all ... You you tell that many times guys don't know how to bring it out and women won't help them because it makes them vulnerable. Can you elaborate more on this? Okay. So, all right. Trying to get back into the mindset of the video, but basically, how did I phrase that thing about like what makes them vulnerable? I mean, I don't remember exactly. I have to like re-listen to that exact part. But guys, okay, let's just take it piece by piece. Many times guys don't know how to bring it out. I mean, is that 100% true or is that 100% true? Most times guys don't know how to bring it out. I'd say I'd venture like 96% of the time guys don't know how to bring it out. Okay? So there's no question about that. Women won't help them. Yeah, women won't help them because one, it's unattractive to women. Okay? Women want an alpha. They want some guy who popped out of the womb being a female gaze icon. Okay? Now, if the woman has to baby you, teach you, train you, it's one, a lot of work. Two, it's not very attractive and appealing because, like I said, they kind of want this like submissive experience from kind of this all great souled man or whatever. So if they're having to like train the guy, to the woman, he kind of seems like a child. He kind of seems like why the hell doesn't he know how to do it on his own? Okay, women don't know that basically 99% of guys pop out of the womb not understanding women, having multiple wrong intuitions about what women want based on what they want. They don't know that men have to study and learn from mentors and YouTube channels and books to try to give women what they want. So women are just kind of like confused there. They have a blind spot. They think that, certain men are bad at this kind of thing. They're kind of confused. Like, I don't know why he's not getting it, but something's wrong with this dude. Something's up with this dude. I'm not gonna help him out because I'm waiting for someone who kind of is like naturally who I want. So yeah, they're not gonna help him out. Like I said, it's unappealing, it's unattractive, it's not the experience they're looking for. And if they do happen to feel sexual attraction for a guy who knows, who they kind of feel, well, I could teach this guy how to give me a submissive experience, but if I did, he'd dominate me and I would have no power. I would basically be giving him all the keys to how to make me go weak at the knees, how to make me obsessed with him, how to make me go crazy for him. Why would you do it? Women like to retain some semblance of power in and like they very well should, okay? But if a woman just tells a guy, "Here's exactly my fantasy, exactly how you have to act in order to make me feel insanely, like, submissive to you." Okay, now he has control over her. So, yeah, it's gonna make her feel vulnerable, okay? She can't, like, she can't he knows all her secrets, okay? She can't use the power that most women have in dating to make the guy fall in love with her, which is their power. So why would she just kind of give away, show all her cards, show her hand? That's just not how the dating game works. It does make you vulnerable. If I told some random guy, here's how to make me feel insanely submissive and passive and make me like want to have sex with you right now, I wouldn't be able to vet that guy to see if I could trust him. I wouldn't be able to see if I like the guy. I would just start feeling like insanely submissive, right? It's stupid. It's very stupid. So yeah, it makes women vulnerable. Okay. Men are playing their cards, women are playing their cards, and it keeps like a healthy balance. It's like chess. You got some, oh, maybe I should make a chess analogy, but you you get what I'm saying, right? I hope. Let's see. Let's see if anyone gets it. Anyway, Jeffrey, hello from Texas. Hello, Jeffrey. Wide Awake Wolf says, I've watched their streams from time to time. They will usually bring a wide range of guests, ranging from traditional women to OnlyFans models. Questions usually revolve around relationships. Adam says, Victoria, have you read Mate by Tucker Max and Jeffrey Miller? No, I haven't. Is it good, Adam? Hi, Jen Marie. Welcome. Welcome. Hello, Jarmilla. X says, dominance is you as a guy being so secure in yourself that you don't have to prove yourself to anyone. That's one definition of dominance, but that can kind of backfire in the kind of dominance women are looking for. Because if you're just like, I don't chase, I don't have to prove myself to any women, you end up not giving women what they want in dating. And in my opinion, you end up just looking like a guy who's bad at dating because you're not actually doing what women want in dating. So if you're so secure that you're just kind of like, I don't prove myself to anyone. I don't do stuff that like women want me to do because that would be like insecure and being a simp. Well, you're not going to be seen as dominant by women because you're not doing anything that women expect from guys in dating who they assume are dominant alpha chats. So I wouldn't, it could be one definition of dominance X. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm just saying be careful because a lot of people interpret that as kind of like, well, if anyone gives me any crap, I walk the other way. And if a woman doesn't like respond to my messages within 3 hours, I don't prove myself to anyone. Like they just kind of use it as an excuse for being like super insecure because they're like, No, this is being secure. And it's like, is it though? I don't know. So anyway, Chirero. Sorry for my name. It's really Spanish. Sorry for not pronouncing your name. Well, what I was asking is there an objective that women search for in a relationship? A really precise one, like, for example, getting better at this, or is it open? I think what women search for in relationships is they search for a deep emotional bond and connection with their partner, um, in which the guy supports them emotionally and grows with them and builds a life with them, often including a house, children, and kind of like an exciting, adventurous life. I'd say that's kind of like the template that most women are kind of looking for in a relationship. So, what do you think, Terrero? Abid says, how long would a girl in love wait for her man to become his actualized self? So, does that mean like if he hasn't got a job or something, like how long would she be with him if he's like unemployed? Because actualized self, I don't think like women are expecting you to be some kind of like enlightened being. So, could you be a little more specific by that? Because, a lot of women just get together with guys because, like, they're hot or something. So, you don't have to hold yourself to this, like, impossible standard. However, certain women are only gonna put up with certain things for so long. Like, for example, if financial stability is, like, super important to them and they're looking for some guy who has, like, a high-paying job and you're unemployed, she's probably only gonna wait so long, but not every girl cares about that, so Kevman says, "Teach me, girl." Alright, what do you wanna know, Kevman? So, alright, interesting seeing your responses to that friend situation. Wide Awake Wolf says, "Saturday night, I'm heading into the city. I look forward to meeting some 5. Advice on the best way to approach a woman. Fortunately for myself, I can have genuine conversations." Um, Honestly, you could do different ways, like, if you're going to a bar, you can ask to buy her a drink. You can just say, "Hey, my name is such and such," and then make a comment on something in the environment. You can give her a compliment on her style, on her look. Those are all good ways to open the conversation. And then you can take it from there because you know how to have genuine conversations. But those are all pretty standard, all 3 of those. If you're gonna go dancing, you can kinda try connecting with her on the dance floor. Jen Marie, what would you add? What are some good ways to approach a woman? And he knows how to have genuine conversation, but what's some good ways to open? Would you agree with those 4 things? And what would you add? Um, Full sugar bra. Victoria, when the time comes for me to use your cold approach method on a woman, I'm going to have you as my spiritual wing woman right by my side. Eh, to be honest, I feel a little bad about that because I gave my best line to approach a woman, and I was kinda hoping guys would use it in a genuine way, but unfortunately, I don't know if they're, like, capable of it now. So, I don't wanna be, like, your spiritual wing woman if you're gonna use it to just, like, lie to women. However, if you actually are going to find a woman in which you do feel there's something about her look, her energy, her essence, then you're free to use it. Email says, as Sterling Cooper says, women want a man who just gets it. Yes, and as I say, women want a man who popped out of the womb being born the kind of guy they want. So, translate to man language, that's a guy who somehow managed to comprehend what women want, unlike other guys. So yeah, to a guy that's he just gets it. I have no idea how he just gets it, bro. But to a woman that's he was born this way. He doesn't have to get it. He embodies it. He is it. Greg Anderson says, I think most women like to be led or guided through a sexual experience, not necessarily dominated. Um, it depends on your definition of dominated. I mean, a lot of women like domination, but we have to define that. And I mean, being led or guided through a sexual experience is basically like another way of saying dominance. But it kind of almost implies in your comment, Greg, that like women wouldn't like being like dominated hardcore or whatever. And yeah, a lot of women would like being dominated hardcore consensually. So Epic Teddy Bear says, but that's what men need to hear. That's why we're all here. Which part, Epic Teddy Bear? Gabby N64 says, don't hesitate when the time comes, just act. Is that about asking the girl out? Could be good advice. Frida Fox 1 says, Victoria, don't women recognize that most guys are just following mainstream advice to be more sensitive and vulnerable? No, I don't think women recognize what guys are doing. I think women are just kind of like men are crazy. Like they don't really like look too deep into it. They don't know, what's on the man's For You page. They don't know what's on the man's YouTube feed. They don't know what men are taking from what advice and what they're not getting. So no, I don't think most women really know almost anything about guys' struggle to get women, except for the fact that they seem really entitled and what is wrong with them, basically. Would you agree, Jen Marie? Russell Cameron Thomas says, guys, get curious about the women you are pursuing. Ask revealing, unusual questions about what is important to her. Listen carefully. Use the information to fuel further conversation. Wonderful advice, Russell. It should be basic. Unfortunately, I know for a fact it is not. But yes, you are correct. That is what women want. And that is just good conversational skills. All horse racing all the time says, are you smarter now since the internet? I doubt it, all horse racing, but what do you think? Brian Edwards says, this backfires though, because the only guys who naturally have those dominant qualities are narcissistic or already taken. Being a young man, you see the tried and true way to get women is to display the dark triad traits that turn them into pseudo psychopaths. So, well, I agree, Brian, that people who are narcissistic, they have an advantage, and people who are sociopaths do have an advantage. Like, I've been listening to a lot of sociopaths talk about themselves on TikTok, and they all say it is very easy for them to succeed socially. Like, it's just like a piece of cake. Like, they never have trouble fitting in. They never have trouble being liked. A big part of that is they don't have any qualms about lying or being fake to fit in, but they're also very confident. They don't get, like, emotional if people, like, insult them, because they don't have, like, kind of, like, guilt or shame or any kinds of things that, like, people with social anxiety, for example, struggle with. But that doesn't mean that the only guys who are good with women are narcissistic or sociopathic or psychopathic just because they are good. Um, there are other guys who naturally have dominant qualities. I mean, there could be something to what you're saying, Brian, because I kind of feel like, you know, on the spectrum of like extreme social anxiety to psychopathic, like I do feel it is easier to be dominant. Like the more, like if you get like midway, it's going to be easier than someone who has like extreme social anxiety. Okay. Because you've got a lot to overcome with that. You're just so kind of like naturally empathetic and concerned about other people's feelings in a way that people, to the midway to like all the way to this extreme are not. So I think maybe you're right, Brian, in that it could be easier, but I don't think you have to be a narcissist or a psychopath in order to be dominant. I mean, if you've ever been to a freaking kink event, you know that everyone there is a freaking nerd. Okay. They're extremely nerdy. They're probably on the spectrum, basically. And they are into kink and they learned how to be dominant. So it's not something you have to like lack empathy to be able to do. Okay. So I don't agree with you completely, Brian, but I kind of know what you're saying. What do you think? So Oliver says, what's some good advice you'd give young men to help them get a girlfriend? Okay, Oliver, here's my advice. All right. After being at this for a while, talking to a lot of guys, first piece of advice, work on your looks maxing. Okay. The halo effect is real. People are shallow. Beauty privilege is real. Everything will go a lot smoother if you work on your look. However, you have to be brutal, okay, with your looks maxing journey. It doesn't just mean getting a better style, okay? And it doesn't just mean like putting on some moisturizer, okay? It's basically submitting to the template what people find most beautiful, okay, as studied by science, and trying to make your face and body like that, okay? Yes, you're selling out. However, things go a lot easier, okay? So it might mean getting a hairpiece. It might mean getting a new haircut. It might mean changing your facial hair. It might mean growing a beard. It might mean getting colored contacts. It might mean working out. It might mean getting a whole new style. I don't think you need to go to do plastic surgery. Some people do. Okay. I really hope you don't need to go there yet. But there's a lot you can do there. Okay. Things are going to go easier for you because if you're just not looking good enough, it's going to be a lot harder unless you have some superior skills, superior social skills, superior skills understanding women. If you have that, you're probably good. You're probably not on my channel. You probably don't need my channel because you're doing great. But if that's not you, maybe look into the looks back then. Second, to learn how women think with your natural deficiencies of being a man and assuming how women think and being dead wrong, you're going to have to undo a lot of your beliefs and you're going to have to educate yourself. You're going to have to practice. You're going to have to fail. And it takes work. Okay. It takes a lot of work. The guys who I've seen go from like incel to Chad, they have gone so hardcore into it, like many guys would not believe. They're like, I don't have the time for that. I don't have the money to invest in that. Um, I cannot like devote my life to this. Okay, but that's what a lot of people are doing. So it's gonna take a lot of work. All right. And it's gonna take coaching. It's gonna take like feedback, like live feedback. Like when I do coaching and I look through like guys' text messages, I'm just like, that was a mistake, that was a mistake, that was a mistake, that was a mistake. And they could be texting, dozens more girls making the same mistakes. And if I was only there in person, I could give a lot more feedback. Okay. Unfortunately, I I don't do that. I people have said like, "Oh, I'll record myself," and I've been able to do that for people, and I learn a lot from it. But if I was there in person, that would be like way more helpful. But there are people who have it all set up so they get audio, video recording, or they'll just be in person with you and they'll give you feedback. I'm just saying it takes work, it takes effort, a lot more than a lot of guys realize. Okay, so you kind of have to decide like, am I going to put in the work? Okay, the looks can help. The looks can give you way more opportunities without putting in that level of work. However, if you want to go all the way, it's going to take work. So that's my advice. Like, be ready for that. It's not easy. Everybody knows heterosexual men have it the hardest. Okay? It's competitive as fuck. So know that from the start and decide to put in the work or not. Okay? And trust me, I know it's not easy. Do I want to like sell out to become like some, you know, carbon copy of like what, men want? No. Like it's very like repulsive to people's souls to like sell out like that sometimes. But you have to decide if it's worth it to you, you know? So it's kind of gross, the whole thing. Russell Cameron Thomas, thank you so much for your super chat. And just want to make sure your last name is really Thomas because I got it off. But he says, advice to guys who experience a surge of anxiety in the moments when they think they need to appear strong, confident / dom first approach. Okay, Russell, my advice is that people cannot see your anxiety as much as you think they can. Okay. Like, I feel like if you're sweating bullets and you have like this kind of like nervous smile on your face, maybe that pushes it over the edge to where people are like, this dude seems nervous. But I will tell you, Russell Cameron Thomas, that when I was younger, like in my early 20s, late 20s even, I never knew for sure if guys were nervous when they were approaching me. I never could tell. I kind of thought, they're maybe acting a bit like shifty or something. It never really occurred to me, stupidly, that they were nervous. Very stupid. But when I think back, that's honestly the truth. It's kind of like I was thinking, were they nervous? Are they nervous? But I never knew that for sure. And now looking back, I'm like, oh my God, that guy was nervous. That guy was panicked. That guy was terrified. I never interpret it in that light because girls, they're sexist in their own way. And they kind of have like this blind spot where they think men almost like don't get that nervous. Okay. They think of men as like hyper masculine. So they're not necessarily thinking of men the way men actually are, which is like, I am freaking terrified of rejection. I am freaking terrified of getting shot down again. I am freaking terrified that a woman will sense that I'm anxious and I'm not being this like strong, confident dude who like controls his emotions. They don't know any of that. I guarantee you that. They don't know what's going on with guys, but they assume that like men run the world basically and that men are like strong, confident, dom, almost like by nature. So that's not going to be where their mind goes first. Like, oh man, he's a terrified loser. They don't think like that. Like you'll always hear women talk about how men have the audacity or I wish I had the confidence of a mediocre white man. Why do you think they're saying that? Because they're kind of like marveling at the fact that guys have confidence that they shouldn't have. It's like they kind of think the guy who shouldn't have confidence has confidence by nature. That's the audacity of men, that's the confidence of the mediocre man, because they kind of think all men, even mediocre men, kind of have like this confidence advantage. So that just shows and tells you that they don't actually understand just how unconfident guys are, okay? That takes having a YouTube channel for like 10 years where 100,000 guys tell you over and over how nervous and scared they are, okay? Most women don't have that. Most women don't understand that. So trust me, you have an advantage in that they're blind to how nervous you are, okay? So just don't let on that you're having this surge of anxiety, okay? And they probably won't notice. That's my perspective, okay? Like my boyfriend now, Beardo, I always remember thinking back to the first time we met. And there were moments where, since I know him so well now, looking back, I could tell this is nervous for him. But in the moment on our first date, I remember thinking, just was like almost like a 5% thought in my head, like a tiny little thought that was just kind of like, I wonder if he's nervous. Okay. He was nervous, but I'm just telling you that so you know. Trust me, they don't know the true nature of what guys have to do, what guys have to deal with, what guys experience emotionally. Okay. A lot of them still believe the myth guys are logical and rational. They like barely have emotions. So, anyway, does that make sense, Russell? So, let's see. Alrighty. Hedonese says, I've been to many kink events and it's the nerdiest scene you can find. I agree, Hedonist. I just went to Kink Fest. It's the circle between like nerds and kinksters is the same circle, right? Or the Venn diagram, whatever. Roughneck Delta says, Hedonese, can you go to these events by yourself? Yes, you can. The things you can't go to by yourself if you're a man are sex parties and sometimes like swingers events. But kink events, you can definitely go by yourself. Banter ABC says psychopaths are experts in behaving like you want them to behave. Exactly, Banter ABC. Cyber LA Rudy says true words. People are shallow. Yes, they are. Kevman says, sorry, I'm kind of skipping around the chat here because people said I'm so behind in the chat, so I'm going to start trying to go down to the bottom. If you're still here, just maybe copy and paste your thing again. Kevman says, looks maxing. I started working out, and after 3 months, I saw a visual difference. Last dance session, a girl broke down in front of me and said, OMG, you're so handsome. OMG, OMG, OMG. Exactly, Kevman. That's the kind of reactions you want. Roughneck Delta says, I think Vic is the only girl that is okay with a guy wearing a hairpiece. I don't agree with that, okay? And some of them look so realistic, the girl doesn't even have to know. And if she does, once you've had sex and she's like all obsessed with you, she's not gonna care. Um, Stoner Steve 97 says, not true. Naturally, women look for a good IQ. You think they want a dumb kid? I think there's more nuance to it. Well, I'm not sure what you're referring to, Stoner Steve, because I agree. Some women definitely look for good IQ. I mean, that was one of my main criteria. Some women, they're more looks focused, and some women, they are quite IQ focused, honestly. So that's very important for some women. But in general, I'd say most people are looking for some level of looks. Some people are looking for higher than others, but looks maxing is never a bad idea. Cyber LA says, "Look at the Kardashians before and after pics. It's like night and day. One of my dermatologist friends worked on one or more of them." Oh, absolutely. Like plastic surgery for women is so insanely normalized right now. Like everybody's getting plastic surgery. Like it's crazy. But women know that looks maxing works for them too. Goodbye, Jen Marie, if you're still here. Okay. I'm trying to get down to the end of the chat here. Allie Chor says, "How to make a girl more open to me so that she stops wearing one of her three masks even a little." Okay, Allie Chor, you have to understand that women have a very good reason not to trust men. So if you are expecting a woman to just trust you completely when you haven't earned her trust, you're just now I'm trying not to say stupid because you're not stupid, but the idea that you have is stupid. Okay. So, but this is like a very common misunderstanding among men where they just think, what? Why can't women just be like totally open to me? And like, because they have a distrust of men earned. Okay. And if you knew how many years it takes to build up and how much shit they have to put up with for years, you would understand that. Okay. Men cannot understand that because at they don't have creepy men staring at them like a piece of meat since they're like 8 years old. Okay. It's very scary. So women know that there's like predators out there. So if they're just open and smiling and happy and enthusiastic, they get stalked, they get followed, they get harassed. They learn very quickly that they cannot be totally open. Okay. So don't expect a woman to just be insanely open. If she is, I'd actually kind of wonder if there's something wrong with her because why hasn't she learned? Like, is she stupid? Like, I don't know. So it's going to be natural that you need to earn women's trust. I would accept that. Jacob Beddoes gives me a compliment. Thank you, Jacob. He says, "You're actually the best dating and romance guru for men on the internet. No cap." Oh, thanks, Jacob. Mountain Mike says, "You rock subscribing." Oh, wow. I wonder what I did to deserve all these compliments. Freedom Fox 1 says, "Victoria, are introverts common in the kink community?" I would say introverts make up like 95% of the kink community. What would you guys say? Oh, Angel Martinez says, "How do you differentiate between love and lust?" Do you like the girl as a friend? Do you like spending time with her? Do you like talking to her? Do you have like a friend in your life who's like a man who you just really like enjoy talking to about things? That's in my opinion, like, what love should feel like a really deep, close friendship. I mean, I know people have different definitions of love, but it's like, do you like the person? Like, as a friend, genuinely, that's kind of like love. And lust is like, do you wanna have sex with them? But do you actually like talking to them? That's how I would differentiate with between love and lust, but what do you guys think? Joelle says, "How do you acknowledge so accurately these blind spots in human views?" Well, I have spent a lot of time, like, kinda focused on this topic, almost as, like, a special interest. So, I kinda, like, have, like, obsessively, like, consumed different things about this topic for many years, so it kinda becomes more obvious, like, the longer you spend in the field. I mean, I started decades ago, basically. Roughneck Delta says, "Vic, why isn't your last live listed on the channel?" I probably took it down. It's probably unlisted. So, Renee R says, "Do women like more talkative guys who talk a lot or more laid back?" Um, it really depends what you mean by talkative guys. Because, like, for example, if you mean talkative guys by, like, he texts you all the time, that could be a big mistake. Like, I saw that recently, like, a guy, he was, like, texting her so much and talking to her so much before the date that she kinda, like, realized he's just, like, a nice guy and kind of uncool before they even got in the date. She, like, lost interest before the date. However, if you're so laid back that you're just very quiet and, like, socially anxious, that's not gonna do well for you in dating either because, you can come off as, like, awkward and shy, quiet. You know how people love to quiet shame, the quiet among us. So it really depends, Renee. I mean, both can be good if you're doing them in the right way, right? All horse racing all the time says, "You are the bomb, very open and insightful." Oh, thank you, all horse racing. Exhausted and Empty says, "Good to see you back, baby." Hello, Exhausted and Empty. Um, all right, let's go down. We're getting down to the bottom of the chat. Jeremy Carpenter says, "I was walking the other day and this chick was like running for me. I was like walking really slow and she freaked out like I was Ted Bundy." I was like, "What?" Um, yeah, Jeremy, because like a lot of women, Ted Bundy, supposedly he was like super charismatic, he was good looking. So don't take it personally. Women don't know who's Ted Bundy and who's not, okay? This woman probably has been watching a little too many like true crime videos and she was just on alert. I wouldn't take it personal because, it's real for women. So if they're a little on edge, they're a little skittish. I know it probably sucks for you because you're like, I'm doing nothing. But women don't know that, okay? So unfortunately for you, Jeremy Carpenter, this is gonna be how a lot of women are, but hey, JG, welcome to the chat, JG. Thank you so much for your super chat. He says, I keep hearing women say they like masculine men, but then they describe dominant men. Or do they really mean coolness as a form of social dominance? It's a really good question. Okay. Do they like masculine men? Do they like dominance or just like cool guys? And what's the difference between all three? So, yeah, I mean, masculine men. I think women mean like a lot of different, like basically masculine. I think it just means basically whatever I find attractive. Like it's almost like a euphemism. You know what I mean? Like anything I find attractive, I'm going to call masculine. It's like what I'm attracted to in men, masculine. And so you're saying then that what they really describe as dominant men. Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's kind of the same. Like I always say on my channel, they're really into like dominance, right? And they perceive that as masculine. So what do you think is the difference, JG? I'm curious. And then you're saying, do they really mean coolness as a form of social dominance? Well, it's like they like all three. Okay. They like cool guys. That's kind of like status, right? As some people put it. Um, so yeah, I mean, coolness is attractive and it appears dominant. Then it's a really good question because I'm trying to break down like the difference. Like, what do they mean when they say masculine? What do they mean when they say dominant? And what do they mean when they say cool? So I guess, well, I guess like when they talk about masculine men, they kind of mean men who almost like inherently subscribe to like the male gender roles they like. Like, for example, a guy who would like protect you, like he's physically strong. And a guy who would be like, well, of course, I'm the provider. Like, that's my role as a man. Or a guy who kind of like wouldn't, who would kind of like hold back on his emotions because it's kind of like, well, he's my rock. Like, these are all things women kind of want in relationships. Um, or what else is masculine? A guy who would kind of be like, well, it's my job to like, take your groceries in because like I'm the man and I'm strong and like you're a dainty feminine princess. So these are things women want in relationships. Now, dominant men, I feel like this kind of becomes like a bit more sexually charged when they're talking about dominant men. They're kind of like, this is almost like a sexual fantasy where it's like, yeah, masculine men are good, but you know what would be even like hotter is like a guy who could take control in almost like this fantasy way. Um, and so a lot of times it's almost like a sexual fantasy, okay? But they also kind of want to see just like a hint of it on dates and stuff. Like, for example, he's taking the lead, he's making the plans, he's pulling out the chair, he's picking up the check. But these are kind of all the traits of a guy who they imagine like could be dominant in bed too, in a much more like kinky way. And then like coolness, I agree, like it's almost like another way of being dominant because it's being socially dominant. And they know they've got like high social status. They know they're going to do well in life. They know they're going to make friends wherever they go. They know they're going to succeed at work. Like, so I don't know if I've answered it very well, but these are all slightly different ways describing things that women find attractive. Sexual dominance, like Christian Grey, masculine guy, like some like construction worker who's like happens to be very good looking or whatever, and coolness, like the most popular guy in school. I mean, all these are different ways that women are like attracted to guys. I don't know. JG sent me another super chat. Thank you so much, JG. And he says, what is so strange is I assume they meant traits, but you actually describe interactive exchanges in social situations. Women are totally bizarre. Very interesting, JG. Um, I'll have to go back and listen to that. Maybe I was. I'm sure you're right, but I don't even really remember the social situations and interactive exchanges rather than traits I was describing. That's very interesting, JG. I'd love to hear more about your perspective about this as well. Like, why do you think it's bizarre that, or why did you assume it was traits, but then you were surprised by the fact that it's these interactive exchanges? Very interesting. Thank you so much for your super chats, JG, and excellent questions. Good night, Jeremy Carpenter. CyberLA says, OMG, quiet shame. Yeah, people used to do that to me all the time. Yes, CyberLA, people do that to me too. And so I've started a movement which I'm trying to make happen. It's the quiet shaming revolution. So Shamanic Wisdom Keeper says, any tips for a dude searching for a woman whose ability to pair bond hasn't been completely destroyed? Yes, Shamanic Wisdom. And that is to get rid of the myth. Stop believing the lies about this pair bonding thing, okay? Most women who are not like child free by choice or celibate by choice or anything like that, they want a relationship. So the idea that they find it impossible to pair bond is just it's just fear porn, okay? Like you're just very scared about them cheating on you, okay? And you don't have to be. If you develop the skills to satisfy and understand women, um, you will not have to worry about them cheating on you constantly, okay? I feel like it's almost a tell for the fact that you know you don't have the skills right now. So I would really heavily invest in getting those skills so that you know you're able to compete. You can do it, shamanic wisdom keeper, okay? But this whole, oh, it's not that I can't compete, it's just that she can't pair bond. She doesn't even want a relationship. She just wants to cheat with like random hookups and casual sex. Most women don't want to do that. Okay? They don't want like that's why I don't even want to go into that because it's kind of disturbing, but yeah. I mean, scientists agree that when most women cheat and when most women like try to seek out sex, they try to find somewhat of an emotional connection as well. Okay? And when men try to seek out sex, of course, it's just they don't care. They just want sex, and it could be completely casual. So the idea that there are just all these women out there who can no longer pair bond because their body count is more than two is just completely ridiculous. And it's just fear porn made up by the red pill movement to get views from like the anxiety porn from guys who are so scared that they will never find love, they will never find a relationship, they will never be able to compete. And the guys are like, exactly. Because once women have slept with a guy who has bigger dick than you, it's over for you. Like, it's just ridiculous. So that is my tip, is just stop believing it and get the skills to compete. And if you need to do that by coaching, by going on a looks maxing journey, by reading as many books as you can about dating and women, start doing it today. That's my advice. Oh yeah, Freedom Fox One says, Victoria, very true. I owe you that study that showed women with lots of short-term relationships are more faithful once they settle down. Freedom Fox One, yes, I've been thinking about that study. I haven't seen it, but I would love, and I looked for it, I think, but I couldn't find it. So I would love if you'll send that to me. So JG says, because men hear masculine or dominance, meaning what interior dispositions they had, but you defined it in how they behaved. Very interesting. Behavior is social. Habits happen when no one is around. Men assume habits are the roots of traits, not how someone acts in public. Interesting. It now makes sense what they mean. It just took you describing what they meant accurately. Okay, JG, very good. I'm glad that was helpful. JG says, women don't know what they are describing, just what they are feeling. You are able to dissect it into practical terms and reasonable definitions. Oh, thank you, JG. JG says, thanks for the red pill impression. Spot on. Thank you for the super chat yet again, JG. And I'm glad you appreciate the red pill impressions. Ah, thanks, JG. Thanks for your explanation. Scrimbim says, no questions today, just happy to be here. Oh, thank you so much, Scrimbim, and thank you so much for your super chat. And that's very nice of you. I really appreciate that. Why are you happy to be here, Scrimbim? Are you having a good day or enjoying the discussion, or let me know. So Schmidt says, do you have a private coaching? I do, Schmidt. Fortunately, I've been having a little issue right now. I've had to move out of my house. Basically, that's why I'm in this hotel room. So because I'm trying to just get everything sorted, I took some times off my Calendly so I can just like fix things. But I have my Calendly link in all my descriptions, and you could book there. And if I get things sorted, I'll contact you and see if you need an earlier time. JG says, yes, she does private coaching. She is worth every penny. She is excellent. Oh, thank you so much, JG. Aziz A says, non-leather. The problem I have with your content is that you are focused on the man changing his behavior and not being himself just to win the girl. I say be you. Work on yourself and you'll attract them. Well, isn't working on yourself the same thing as the man changing his behavior? And can't you change your behavior but still be yourself? Like, if you learn a better way of doing things, you're still yourself. It doesn't mean you're now like a totally new and different person with a totally new, different personality. Like, for example, I hired this like social skills coach, which I sometimes talk about, and he taught me, in my opinion, a few better social skills. I'm not saying I'm good, guys, okay? But he did teach me some things I didn't know, and I'm still myself. I just use the tips, okay? So I'm not sure about this, Aziz. Um, what do you say to that? Because working on yourself is exactly what I'm telling you guys to do. And you're still going to be yourself after you work on yourself. So Schmidt says, is your coaching a one-time session or could it be weekly or monthly? It's one time, no commitment, no subscription, but if you want to do weekly or monthly, you can. It's up to you. I try never to like pressure people. Like, if you want one, you can get one. If you don't want one, you don't have to get one. You know what I'm saying? You're not locked in. So Filthiness says, is it a red flag if a woman only messages me when she's sad, lonely, or sick because I make her feel better? So it depends, Filthiness, because I mean, it's definitely a sign that she finds emotional comfort in you, which could be good. But if you're looking to date her, you don't want to get used. You know what I mean? So if you're looking to date her, or are you already dating? It depends. But it sounds like almost like she almost might be using you for like emotional comfort. And she might just think you're friends. So I wouldn't say it's a red flag, but if you want to date her, it might not be the best sign. It could be, but it could be a good sign because it's like she kind of likes you. But unless you start making moves and increasing the chemistry between you, like, this could go on indefinitely because she might just see you as a friend, so it depends what you want, filthiness. Schmidt says, "Do you have an ick list?" No, I don't. I don't have an ick list. Um, how do I say this? Um, I mean, Schmidt says, "Every girl has an ick list, don't lie." Okay, I know you're probably joking, Schmidt, but I I don't like when people assume that I'm lying when I'm not. That's just my personal pet peeve. I wouldn't call it an ick, but I don't like it. Um, but no, I don't have an ick list. But what I was thinking and kind of didn't want to say is just that honestly, a lot of like the red pill, and I know red pill is a big movement, a big umbrella containing a lot of different ideas, but a lot of the typical things the red pillars say are kind of just like icks for me. Um, and just kind of like I wouldn't really say it's an ick in the same way that because like of course I watch all these different ick videos and kind of like the latest thing on TikTok that's kind of like the commentary on the ick is almost like if you have a lot of icks, maybe you're a lesbian. Like maybe you don't like men. And a lot of women are like, yeah, that's a good point. Like I probably don't. So to be honest, like I never had like even though an ick wasn't really a thing when I was dating, like I didn't have a lot of things like a lot of women say like, "Ew, he's acting feminine, gross," or whatever. But there were certain things that mm, there were obviously certain things I didn't like, but anyway, yeah, I don't have an ick list, so I'm not really I can't just like list them off for you. Stoner Steve says, "Truth to Red Pill, though." Yeah, I'm not saying there's not any truth to it, but a lot of the attitudes are not attractive to women, I'll tell you that much. All Horse Racing all the time says, "You won me over tonight. Keep up the great work, and thank you, Alan." Oh, thank you, Alan. I appreciate that. Are you a new um follower, subscriber, commenter? Like, have you ever seen a live before? Let me know. So Schmidt says, "My ex broke up with me because she got the ick because she saw me scrambling around to pick up a bouncing ping pong ball." Yeah, I kind of feel like the ick is something like you get when you've been like suppressing your true thoughts about someone for so long. Because I remember in college, like there was this guy I had this like massive crush on. We were kind of like best friends. We would do everything together, but there was a lot of like stuff building up like under the surface surrounding like things that had happened. And I remember one time I was eating sushi and I was using my hands because like I think it's pretty much okay to eat sushi with your hands, right? It was just like, vegetable roll. And I could tell he got the ick. I could tell there was like this look of like disgust. And he was like, ew, why are you eating it like that? And I just set it down and I'm like, okay. Like I knew at that point, like things had just gotten kind of like out of control. Like the resentment had just bubbled over. So I kind of feel like it's kind of the same for like girls too, where it's like at a certain point, the resentment has just, like, bubbled over. It's like they've been wanting to tell you, "You're not acting dominant enough. You're not acting masculine enough. You're not being, in the masculine role. You're being in the feminine role." And then they see something and it almost, like, triggers this overflow of, like, "Ew, I can't take this anymore." But, like, they should have communicated that with you, like, long before. So this if this really is true, Schmidt, that your ex broke up with you because she saw you picking up a bouncing ping pong ball, like, that's just I mean, it's honestly on her. Like, she should have had some conversation with you before that. Like, listen, I'm having an issue. Here it is. Not, Ew, you're disgusting for bending over to pick up a ping pong ball, like, I mean, obviously, right, Schmidt? Talal says, "Your videos have arrived in Jordan." Oh my gosh, Talal, wow. That is crazy. Yeah, Freedom Fox 1 says, "A ping pong ball that broke the camel's back." Exactly. Exhausted Empty says, "Women will put up with a lot if they like you a lot." That's for sure. Exhausted Empty, you're right. Superman Man says, "There's something strangely fascinating about watching Victoria think." Thank you, Superman Man, because my whole life people have always told me, "You look confused. Is there something on your mind? You look puzzled." So it's kind of annoying. So that's nice that you're saying something positive about that. Schmidt says, "Did you ever do anything to that one lady who was stealing your video ideas word for word?" No, Schmidt, I hired a lawyer to do a consultation, but basically what I learned from that consultation was it was going to be so much money to pursue her that it was just not worth it. Okay. Not even for revenge. So I tried to just be okay with the fact that karma will get her. I mean, she's insanely fraud. I mean, she's a fraud, and she's really popular. Hopefully, people catch on. That's all there is to it. I mean, she wrote me like a very like angry, threatening email. Like, "You will be hearing from my lawyers if you continue to say like I took inspiration from your videos." That's what she was saying. I'm like, and then she revoked the copyright claim with YouTube because she claimed and had her lawyers claim that she added so much of her own personal like commentary to my videos, which anyone could see, including YouTube, because they copyright striked her originally, that it was false. But once you get your lawyers involved, the lawyers told me that um, basically YouTube is like, okay, well, she's willing to defend the fact that she didn't copy me in court because she had her lawyers, you know, say that she didn't. So if she's willing to defend it in court, then we'll just let like the legal system take over from here because YouTube doesn't want to get involved with like these legal battles. So YouTube told me you have 10 days to file a legal action against her or we'll just reinstate the video. So I'm like, okay, I don't want to fight this woman in court. I mean, she's obviously crazy and immoral and unethical. So I don't need this is like the last thing I need. I would do it. I would do it if she kept doing it, but it seems like she hasn't. Maybe she got scared by the fact that YouTube agreed with me and copyright striked her. Masked Man said, "If I were you, to stop her from stealing your videos, make parody videos of hers, and the satire of the videos like, wow, your video sounds exactly like mine." Masked Man, it's a good idea. I was a little afraid because I didn't want YouTube to strike me for using clips from her video, which is copying my video. Because I'm like, I need to make a mistake and get like copyright striked myself by her. But yeah. Hello, Levi. Masked Man says, just put the fair use tag on your videos. Interesting, Masked Man. I didn't know about that. If you do that, like, you're good? Because I figured, like, the second I use a clip of hers, she'll probably try to copyright strike me to, like, get me back. But Roughneck Delta says, drama equals views. This is your advantage. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not, like, I don't know. I find it, like, stressful, like, dealing with her. Like, I kinda hope she just, like, forgets about me because I don't wanna be in the view of some kinda, like, let's just say, one of the 5 people who can ruin your life. Read that book, okay? Talks about different personality disorders. So, I don't wanna be, like, in her sights. So I hope she just, like, forgets about me and moves on to somebody else. But yeah, it was pretty unbelievable that you could be that much of a fraud. I never understood that. Have an original thought, like, really. And also, like, what is the problem with crediting someone? Schmidt says, "Have you ever watched the movie Rules of Attraction?" I have not. Is it good? I did do, like, a live, where I mocked her videos, um, but then I took it down because I just didn't want to, like, incite any more drama. Not the best YouTuber out here, but, I just did it for the live. I really went off on her in that live. If anyone wants the link, you can email me. Well, maybe I shouldn't give it out because I don't know. Maybe someone could be one of her spies. Who knows? She might even be on here. That would be crazy. Masked Man says, "What's your favorite scary movie, Victoria?" Well, Masked Man, I don't like scary movies. I'll have to go give a shout out to a YouTube channel I've been watching. Anyone else? It's called Scary Interesting. So you know that guy like Mr. Ballin on TikTok? I found him, and I guess he's like huge YouTuber now. But there's this new guy, Scary Interesting, and he does like real life horror stories, basically of like mining accidents, scuba diving accidents, cave diving accidents, like missing people, um, like horrible fates. He has this whole series about it, and it's like really scary. And they're true. So I do watch that. I got addicted and I, like, watched them all. But, yeah, it's called Scary Interesting, like, he just reached 1,000,000 subscribers, like, he's been growing like a weed. Masked Man says, "Imma give his channel a go. Thanks for recommendation." Well, Masked Man, you're in for some serious trauma, in my opinion, because they're very traumatizing stories. Some of the stories, I'm like, "Why did I watch that? Why?" But at the same time, I feel like I've learned a lot about, like, survival skills and stuff, and just what to avoid, what to look out for. Like, for example, one of the stories in The Horrible Fates was about, like, this famous, I guess, like, deadly fire in this concert venue, and just hearing about the fire, it made me realize, like, "Oh my god." Like, if there's a fire in a building, you've got, like, 2 minutes to get out of that building before, like, smoke could, cover the whole room. So it just helped me, like, the other day I was staying at a hotel, there was a fire alarm, and I'm, like, thinking of that story I saw, I'm like, "I gotta get out of here." I can't dilly-dally, like, before I would've just, packed my bag, I'm like, "It's probably nothing." But then this time I'm like, "Let's go, let's go." I was the first one out. So stuff like that, I feel like it's kinda helped me realize some of the dangers in this world. AH says, "Here's a tip for what to avoid: underwater cave exploration." 100% AH. That's like one of the most common comments on a lot of his videos, which is just something like how to I can't even remember, but basically people are just saying, "One thing to never do, go cave diving." Or like, "One thing I have no desire to do, go cave diving." Yeah, underwater cave exploration, unbelievably dangerous. It's crazy because even some people who have been doing it, like, their whole lives, they die too. It's like, "Oh god." So, Master says, "Beards or clean shaven?" Well, I actually just saw, you know that guy Koves, Qoves? He's kinda like this black pill looks maxing channel. He just released some scientific studies about whether people are more attractive with beards or clean shaving, and he said, if you have a weak jawline as a guy, then a beard can enhance your attractiveness because it covers your weak jawline, okay? And it almost looks like the illusion of you could have, like, the sharp Chad jawline. However, if you already have, like, a sharp Chad jawline, then you wanna show it off. It's one of those features that you wanna make sure the ladies see. So clean shaven would be best for you, but you need to do at least a qualitative analysis of your face, and it's like, what looks better on me? What makes me look better? Okay, is it a beard or is it clean shaven or is it a little bit of stubble or what is it? You got to get scientific about it. Schmidt says, "Are you in college still?" Oh, Schmidt, you flatter me. No, I am not. London Boy says, "When was the last time you had a picture on the wall?" Yeah, I'm in a hotel room right now, so this is not me. Um, but good question. Nine says, "What's your take on AI faking voices?" I don't really know, Nine. Like, I've just heard a little about it, like this deep fake stuff or whatever. What's your take on it? You probably know a lot more than me. Levi Shaner says, "Interesting. I think it can make you less scared of things in everyday life too, right?" Sometimes I think that, Levi. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, I feel like I'm hardening the fuck up, by like listening to these things, but I'm not sure. Maskman says no caves. Yes, I agree. No caves. I actually went caving once as a kid and I really liked it, but looking back, I'm like, and I kind of thought, oh, maybe I could get into spelunking. This could be my hobby, but that was just kind of a thought I had. Um, but now I'm just very glad. I'm like, no, no caves. Joao says, "Hey, make a video about the bullying beautiful women suffer because of their beauty. I think this is the topic usually people ignore, but it is real." I would never do that, Joao. First of all, I guess I was never on the level where people are bullying me because of my beauty. I mean, it's such a pick me video to make in the first place. Like, oh, I have it so hard because I'm like just so beautiful. Like, really? Really? Okay. With all like the beauty privilege in the world, like this is what you're going to complain about? I mean, I don't doubt that it's true. Like, if you're some kind of like Victoria's Secret supermodel, I'm sure people like assume you're an idiot, assume you're stupid. Well, that's pretty much the same thing. Men just want you for your looks. Insecure women are like threatened by you. Okay. But guess what? Your your life is pretty good otherwise. I mean, who knows? They might have some like horrible trauma as well. Like they've been assaulted. Like who knows? But I don't know. It's just it kind of like reminds me of like thin women who always talk about like you have no idea like the bullying I experienced for being like this thin. I'm like, really, really? Like, does it compare in any way, shape, or form to the bullying like a plus size woman gets? Like, no, it doesn't. But that's just me. Why do you find it an interesting topic, Joelle? JG, thank you so much for the super chat. He says, hardening the F up. Hilarious. Haha. Hashtag best line. Well, JG, I can't take credit for that because I used to watch this guy a long time ago, Durian Rider. Um, he was like a big vegan YouTuber, and he used to say it all the time. Like, it was really kind of funny. he would, like, mock this, like, guy who was kind of all, like he was another big vegan YouTuber, he was very, like, soft and in his feelings a lot, and this guy would always tell him, like, he has to harden the fuck up and everything, and the guy would get so hurt. I mean, I shouldn't be laughing, but it was a little bit humorous, like, the whole drama between them, but yeah, it's his line, "Harden the fuck up." That was his catchphrase. So I guess it always stuck with me. Gabby N64 says, "I thought attractive people are seen as more competent and thus end up getting paid more." That's what I hear, Gabby N64. That's what I hear. I heard there's studies on that, that they make more money. I believe it. Anonymous says, "Have you ever seen Beardo without the beard?" Yes, I have seen him without the beard. Like when we met, he had a beard, but then he had to shave it for this job he got, and he could only have like facial hair, so he had different like varieties of mustaches, and he shaved them into all kinds of ridiculous shapes. I'm like, but yep. Pulse Reloaded says, "When was the last time you had a fight? Like with who? Like a physical fight? Like like beat someone up?" Or like I don't like a fight with my boyfriend? Like what kind of fight are we talking here? Pulse Reloaded. Nonea None of your business. Got it. Says methods for managing avoidant attachment partners. Well, none of ya, sorry. My boyfriend Bureau, he's avoidant. Okay. So I had to manage him. Here's what I did. Okay, none of ya. I forced him to learn some communication skills by doing this thing I call the 20-minute exercise. Okay. So Beardo, to his credit, he was very nice in saying, "I will do this 20-minute exercise with you twice a week because I care about you." Okay? So, what the 20-minute exercise is, and of course I'm like, "Okay, good." And I said, and I'll do the 20-minute exercise for you." He's like, "No, I don't need it because I just say what I have to say. I don't need like some special exercise, some special communication like therapy exercise to like tell you how I feel." Okay? The avoidant people, they don't this is and I've listened to a bunch of these attachment therapist coaches. I hired 2 attachment therapist coaches, so I got some different perspectives here, okay? And basically what they say, the therapist, the attachment therapist is with the avoidant people, they don't recognize how kind of like inappropriately distant and how defensive and kind of like the communication skills and the relationship skills they lack. They just don't realize it. Okay? So they don't have the skills, they don't know they need the skills, and, that's why I had to do this 20-minute exercise thing with Beardo, because I had to get him to listen to me, okay? So here's what the 20-minute exercise is, okay? You set a timer for 20 minutes, okay? And then you set another timer for 1 minute. So then for 1 minute, you talk about whatever you have to say, your thoughts, your feelings, okay? Then when the timer goes off after 1 minute, the avoidant person basically has to do 3 things. 1, paraphrase what you said as closely as possible. So you basically say, "It sounds like you're saying you're really mad, you're really upset because I did this, 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 and this." Good. Second thing you have to do, based on what you just said, here's how I imagine you might be feeling. So basically, like the guy said, based on what you said, or given what you said, I imagine you might be, or sounds like you might be feeling angry, alone, lonely, disappointed. That's it. And the third one is kind of a bonus, and that's if you agree, can you acknowledge the grain of truth in what they said? So that's like, and I can understand why you might be feeling that way because I did this. Boom. Then you go on to the next minute and you do that till 20 minutes is up. But what that teaches you is basically how to emotionally validate your partner. It teaches you good communication skills. It teaches you how to say, "Wow, okay, so you're saying I did this. Sounds like, you know, that was probably like very frustrating for you. And I can understand why you feel that way." Boom! You have excellent communication. So basically, by doing this 20-minute exercise twice a week, he learned what is called the five secrets. I got this from Dr. Burns' book, Feeling Good Together. It's an amazing book. And once he learned the five secrets, everything improved. He learned communication skills and he himself thanked me many times because he said, you know what, like basically, I was never good at this, like skills. I know my whole life I had to work on them, but I just like never did. So this is really good. It's like improving lots of areas of his life. So that's how I managed it. And from that, it's kind of like once the avoidant person has like the skills, like, oh, okay, I can like handle these emotionally upsetting situations. Things start getting better. Their capacity gets better, in my opinion. But anyway, so what's your view on it, Anonymous? Well, oh, sorry, it wasn't Anonymous. None of you. Excuse me. Hello, Kevin. He says, hey, positive energy from California. Oh, thank you, Kevin. Levi Shaner says, what's important about men's hairstyle? A good fit, right? What about the type of hair? Trendy, popular, classic, all of the above? What about long hair? Levi, I believe you should go to someone who is incredibly skilled in this specialty. Okay, don't ask me. Don't ask your male friends. Go to a very popular stylist. Like I've seen them on TikTok. People travel for like hours to go to these kind of like celebrity hairstylists. Okay, they don't have to be like celebrity, but a very good hairstylist can help you out. Okay, like or even get a consultation with one of these like black pill stylists who really like look into these things. But I would not leave it up to chance. I would not leave it up to personal preference. I would get an expert's opinion, okay? Because different hairstyles can look good on different face shapes and everything. So you got to be strategic about this. So, yeah. Banter ABC says magic happens when people feel understood. It's so true, Banter ABC. Like, honestly, truer words have never been spoken. I totally agree with you. Poker stacked. Poker stacked. Oh, hello, poker stacked. Beardo wants to talk to me. So, Joelle says, I just think it is a nice topic because I think that it is a huge blind spot people have. People think they can treat beautiful people bad because of their privileges. I met some girls who tell me, yeah, that's a good point, Joelle. I actually see what you mean. Okay. Like, I agree. Like, for example, I was in this social anxiety Facebook group, and anytime a girl would post about social anxiety, all the guys thought they had, like they would post, like, very insensitive comments because 'cause they'd be like, "What? Like, you're a girl. What do you have to be socially anxious about? Like, your life is perfect." And it was really annoying because it's like, yeah, just because somebody's conventionally attractive doesn't mean they don't have mental health issues or, struggles in their life, people problems. So, I agree with you, Joelle, in that, you know, it is a huge blind spot men often have. And of course, women too, but come on. A little bit more men, but Spidey Bye says, "Hey, I have a crush on this girl, so I asked what kind of guy she needs, and she told me she likes men. So can you tell me what she means by that?" Well, I'm guessing, Spidey, what she kinda means is like, I want a man, not a boy. I want a real man. Real men have curves, kinda like that. So it's like, she wants basically a guy who is the same kinda guy every other girl wants, okay? All women are attracted to men, not boys, and a man or men basically means a guy who does everything right in dating, which is what I try to teach you guys on this channel. So just follow your basic dating advice and, well, of course, there's like a lot of different dating advice out there, but she wants a guy who's definitely going to be in that traditionally masculine role. That's for sure. Okay. So, yeah. Texting Beardo for a second. LA Tour says, "How do I manage my current three lovers? I'm suffering very much now due to their tantrums. What should I do? I asked you the previous question to find a solution." Uh, okay, I'm trying to look for your previous thing. I don't know what your previous thing was, Ellie, but I mean, if you're calling their emotions tantrums, I mean, that's your first issue. Try to actually understand what they're upset about and validate them. Find the grain of truth in what they're saying. That will solve a lot of problems because it's insanely insulting to just someone's upset and you say, "Oh, you're having a tantrum." Um, yeah, so that'd be my first step for you. All right, guys. Well, Beardo wants to chat, so I gotta go. Might be back on later if the call is short. We'll see. Anyway, guys, thanks for your great questions tonight, your great comments, your points. You made me think. Your compliments, your super chats. I really appreciate it. You guys always make me have a lot of fun. I learn a lot from you guys. I'm very flattered that you want to hang out with me here and just kind of ask me your questions, and I hope I'm being I'm giving you some good tips. But anyway, thank you guys so much. And I will see you guys later. Perhaps maybe in the next live, maybe later tonight. I'm not sure. But thanks once again, guys. Edwin says, "First time live, what's your schedule?" Unfortunately, Edwin, I am terrible in that I don't have a schedule. I just do it when I feel like it's not good, right? 432 says, "What's your OF link?" I think it's called fishfeel.com. Oh, here you go. Hold on, let me find it for you. Mm, okay, here it is. Here it is. Check this out. It's my OnlyFans. All right, guys. Have a wonderful evening. Bye, everybody. You can always email me, my nonlittlerlife@gmail.com. I'm kind of behind on emails, but sometimes I will reply if I have time, so you can do that. All right, bye, guys. Thank you.